Good afternoon. Today's presentation is going to be about effective use of modern communication by Deborah Corley. So what is electronic communication? It is a method that all businesses use to send and receive messages over the internet through a computer. Now, our communications have come a really long way with email, text messaging, videos, online chats, and programs such as WebEx for distance learning for those people that are like in other countries, other states. You know, a lot of companies have it to where you do this distance learning because it's cheaper than sending people across the country on planes. Types of communication that we have in business today. We're going to go over the correct use of email, why companies should use video conferencing or video chat, messaging on a mobile device. It's come a long way, and key use on why you should use online chats in business, and also educating employees from various locations. Email came out back when the internet first exploded, so it was the newest thing at that time. If you were in a business, then if you worked for like Verizon, you got your name, like Deborah.corley at Verizon.com, you got an email address. Everyone got one, and if you wanted a personal one, you go like to Yahoo or Gmail, and you do like what I have, a dcorley at gmail.com. Everyone got an email address. This gave everybody the opportunity to talk to different people from various locations. Like I talked to my foreign exchange student in Germany through email, so this has come a really long way to where you can send an email versus a letter in the mail. Email's quicker, letters take 7 to 10 days on some areas, especially overseas. Another good option that email gave us was the ability to, we can send attachments, we can send video, we can send music, we can share pictures. And also in business, you can send attachments and share data and share documents with each other. Another good thing to be doing, as in any business, there's always going to be rules no matter what when new things like this come up in business. I myself used to not get too many emails, but depending on how your position in the company, you could. Those with the higher positions get like tons of emails, hundreds, 200s daily. And of course they come with attachments that are very huge and bog down the servers. And in doing that, then it stops you from being able to send out or receive any new emails. So, we all have like 100 meg limit at my job. So it's up to everybody to be diligent about deleting emails you don't need anymore, or another good thing that they have now is you can archive those huge attachment emails into archive and still be able to keep them, but not bog down the servers because they're located somewhere else. Also, you can set up rules. Like I have a rule set up to where I have 2 different supervisors that I get, as soon as an email comes from them, it goes straight in their folder. So as soon as I see that name bolded, I know something new's come in and I better look at it quickly. Video conferencing. Video conferencing is another way that businesses can communicate with clients or with people with employees within their own business at different locations. They don't have to travel, which, some traveling can be up to 9 hours. If you go out to London, it's like a 9-hour flight. If you go any further than that, it could be like Paris is like a 12-hour flight. And if you have to go to India, that's even longer. India's kind of like a 15-hour flight. So if you've got people coming from that far, which we do business with people from India, so we would have associates like them, or managers, let me say, that would come from there to our location to see how we run business, as opposed to how they run it there or what they can do better. if they were to come visit us, what they can take away from us and do there. And so these kind of travels is just such a big wear and tear on a person's body to have to be in an airplane seat for that long. So video conference is really a big plus. You can still, because of the video, you can still see each other. You can see who you're talking to. And for those that, may have been left out before, that wanted to travel for these to these conferences but didn't have the money in their budget for everyone to go and only select few got to go, now this can be opened up to more people, and you can meet, and more people can meet each other, know who they're doing business with, because I had a manager at Verizon that was located in New York, so I never saw what she looked like, nothing, until one day they actually had us fly over, and we got to meet everyone that I had spoke to in emails in person. So I had more of that one-on-one familiarity with them at that point, which was a lot better. Now I could actually tell who it is I'm talking to, what type of person they are. Those kind of things you just can't tell over an email. It's too hard to tell. So because of this type of conferencing made it possible for more companies to do meetings, really for like either large groups, like our team is about 20-30 people at Verizon. We did video conferencing like this for like a large announcement was going to come out as to when we were going to merge from GTE to Verizon into one company. So they had different locations set up at the main headquarters. So we went as groups, really large groups, about 50-60 at a time, to different locations, and depending on the room, what the room could accommodate. And we went there and saw a video conference for our president to tell us what was going to be happening with the company. Some good facts about video conferencing. Of course, like I've mentioned before, you don't have to travel those long distances anymore. It fits everyone's schedule so much better to be able to just schedule, hey, I've got a meeting here in my office at 3 versus, oh, I gotta fly out 2 days before so I can be there in time for a meeting. And just so many more people can have the option to do video conferencing. With it also, in those conferences, you can share documents. You got documents up there you're given the presentation, everyone's being able to see it, and they can see it in their location. And they also have what they call whiteboards, where the actual employees can, they can get interactive and put their thoughts down on that whiteboard, and the presenter can see it and can bring those topics up during the presentation. They can either stop at that point and answer anyone's questions, or they can wait till the end of the presentation and do it in the Q&A. Another thing is access. Of course, the access is that you, like I mentioned before, you have that one main computer that's started it all, that start the presentation, and you have one main computer and monitor in that one room that everyone's looking at, so everyone can see the screen completely. It's not just one little laptop or one computer that everybody's huddled around just standing there trying to see the presentation. It's one large room, one big screen, one computer handling out from the feed from the main computer that started the conference to begin with. Now, there are some cons to video conferencing. Not all companies already have the video conferencing equipment set up. They may need, more than one room set up for video conferencing, so the initial cost of all this video equipment is really expensive. But in the long run, it does come out a lot cheaper than if you have to send 5 or 6 people to travel, the airplane cost, because the fuel is so high now, and then the hotel stays and the food expenses. So really, it does come out better. At first it just seems like a lot, but if you take all those things into account, it does come out a lot cheaper. And although Like I said, fuel is a big problem right now because the rising cost is just making it um, just a lot more expensive to even try to anticipate traveling, and then that just saves our world as a whole not having so much fuel being spilled out there in the ecosystem. Another thing is, though, you do lose the actual in-person human contact. You're not there in person meeting that person, like, shaking their hand, meeting them, saying hi. This is Deborah, and your name is, you don't get to meet that person. You don't get to see their body language and, those kind of things. So you kind of miss out on that. And then another big con about it is, like with anything, you could have a power outage, just like you would at your home. Power outage goes down, you lose your feed. It could be a really critical presentation you're doing, and there it goes. And then you have to wait until you can get that feed back up. It could take a couple of minutes, it could take hours, so then you're losing that critical time that everyone had stopped at this point in time to meet and would have to reschedule. So that's kind of the bad thing about that.